What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Sunday, April 2nd. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 9-game slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. I'm going to give you a value play here. I like Reggie Jackson from the Denver Nuggets playing the Golden State Warriors, who have the 10th worst defense overall, give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Reggie Jackson has averaged 19.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 25 minutes per game with a 21% usage rate. Now, he's been out for a little bit. He came back last game, scored 23 fantasy points in 34 minutes. So I think he can put up 20 or more fantasy points here tonight. Let me just take a look. If he scores 20 fantasy points, that would be 4.5 times value. So he's going to need about 22 fantasy points to get you 5 times value or more. I think he can get there. This is a high-scoring game. Vegas thinks there's going to be 237 points scored in this game. And Reggie Jackson, so you know he scored 23 fantasy points last game, but in his last 3 games versus the Warriors, scored 21, 20, and 43 fantasy points. It's a good matchup in a high-scoring game, and he's got 30-plus fantasy point upside. So I like Reggie Jackson here versus the Golden State Warriors. Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. So I like Donovan Mitchell as a stud pick, but if you want to save some salary here at the shooting guard position, take a look at Caris LeVert from the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Indiana Pacers, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, give up the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards. Caris LeVert has averaged 25.3 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 19% usage rate. He's projected at 25.1 fantasy points here tonight. I think he can score 30 fantasy points or more in this matchup, get you over 5 times value. He's $5,800 DraftKings salary, $400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 231 points scored in this game. Caris LeVert has scored 36, 21, and 15 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 33, and 30 minutes. Now, I like this pick because he's playing plenty of minutes. It's a great matchup. Reasonably high-scoring game here. And Caris LeVert has scored 30, 24, and 39 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Pacers. I think he can go for 35-plus fantasy points here tonight. So I like Caris LeVert here versus the Indiana Pacers. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won. And then we'll send you $25 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. I like Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic playing the Detroit Pistons, who have the 3rd worst defense overall, give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing small forwards. Franz Wagner has averaged 31.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 32.2 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5 times value. He's 6,500 DraftKings salary, 900 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 226.5 points scored in this game. Franz Wagner has scored 30, 42, and 45 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 32 minutes in each of those games. So nice consistent minutes, consistent production. His lowest score in his last 5 games was a 30, followed by a 34, 36, 42, and 45. And he's got a pretty good track record here versus the Detroit Pistons, 29, 33, 31, 38, and 28. So I think he's got a great chance at getting you 5 times value or more, especially on DraftKings. So I like Franz Wagner here versus the Detroit Pistons.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. I like Jabari Smith Jr. from the Houston Rockets playing the LA Lakers, who have the 5th worst defense overall, give up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing power forwards. Jabari Smith Jr. has averaged 27 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 31 minutes per game with a 19% usage rate. He's projected at 29.4 fantasy points here tonight. I think he can score 35 fantasy points or more, get you over 5 times value. He's 6,400 DraftKings salary, only 100 more on FanDuel, so I like that price on both sites. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 233 points scored in this game. Jabari Smith Jr. has scored 34, 34, and 42 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 36, 39, and 29 minutes. And he scored 29 and 25 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Lakers. So I like Jabari Smith Jr. here versus the LA Lakers. Okay, moving on to the center position. I like DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the 8th worst defense overall. Middle of the pack defending opposing centers. DeAndre Ayton has averaged 35.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 23% usage rate. Now, he's projected at 36.3 fantasy points here tonight, and on DraftKings, that's 6 times value. He's 6,100 DraftKings salary, 1,200 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 236 points scored in this game. DeAndre Ayton has scored 23, 21, and 24 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 28, 28, and 30 minutes. So he's drastically underperformed his season average the last 3 games. And he scored 27 and 34 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Thunder. I think he has a breakout game here, so I like DeAndre Ayton, especially on DraftKings, here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups
using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.